My friends, I am so glad to be talking to our good friend Collin Plume from Noble Gold Investments. And your URL, your special VIP URL is lionelnationgold.com, or call 877-646-5347. Let me get that out of the way. Collin, have you ever seen a time in metals that is as exciting as this?
It reminds me of during COVID, the amount of excitement and news about precious metals. It's been a few years since we've seen something so exciting. We at Noble Gold are going back to a full 6-day-a-week schedule. So just based on the demand that we've seen recently, it's been unbelievable, the amount of phone calls, the excitement. Yeah, and listen, it's coming from places that you wouldn't expect. I mean, Goldman Sachs said, and this is the thing that's their prediction for gold is 3,100 to 5,000.
Not 31 to 32,
Yeah.
32.5.
Yeah. It sounds like your local weather person, saying that there's no rain and then it rains. I mean, they're giving themselves a really, wide range of possibilities. Yes. But I think that it's based on the idea. I mean, to give you an idea, these type of reports, they'll have usually a 3 to 6% variance, right? So they'll say 3,100 to 3,400 or 3,200. So them saying it could hit 5,000 is really based on the idea that, first of all, that we are in unprecedented times in terms of, number one, let's not forget, inflation is here to stay. It's not slowing down. I know they've talked about trying to slow down inflation, but we're just not in a position right now to slow down inflation, and tariffs will increase inflation. That's the number one. Things will get more expensive. Now, will that strategy be good for us long term? A lot of people believe yes, but short term, we're at 3%. So number one, inflation is sticky. What do we do when there's inflation? What type of assets do you buy? What is the stock market saying? So stock market feels really good right now because obviously President Trump is a big believer, and he tries to keep the stock market as strong as possible, and that's great. But you have, almost 40% of the wealth tied into 4 big companies, the Magnificent Seven. So you have a lot of the wealth tied up in 4 companies. So as much as there's optimism there is some concern. People are concerned. So you have very heavy inflation. You have a lot of the wealth tied up in 7 companies. Some of these tech companies are, there's some real concern about their growth strategy going forward. And if you buy those stocks today or you own those stocks today, that's all you care about. You don't care about what happened in the past. You want to know that for the next 5 years that we're going to continue on this trajectory. So there is a lot of concern about that. Obviously, stock prices relative to values have never been higher. This, if you look at all the charts, Price Schiller Index and all these charts. So these are things that people are looking at. So the market is a little bit, I think the stock market's a little bit on edge. People are on edge there, and it's very volatile. Big days down, big days up. And that's typically a market that's either trying to correct or trying to figure out what it's, where things are going to go this year.
And also gold is so fascinating because of the central banks, and also explain, Collin, the role of China in vis-a-vis their property fluctuations, and why gold is just through the roof.
Yeah. So Chinese investors are, they've done poorly in real estate. They're Chinese investors are typically very conservative. They've always bought gold, but they like real estate. They liked it, but real estate has not been a great market for them. Last year, one of the largest real estate companies in China filed for bankruptcy. So Chinese real estate, they just overbuilt, coupled with the fact that they just, rates are higher than what they're used to. Everyone's rates are higher than what they're used to. And they can't pencil out the numbers, right? So you have, and this is happening like worldwide, is you have, prices on real estate sort of staying where they are, interest rates really high, still high. So January was the worst housing market in terms of sale volume in 40 years, the lowest sale volume that we've seen in 40 years in January for real estate, residential real estate. So, I think that, there's a lot of debt coming due this year. There's a lot of commercial debt. There's a lot of residential debt. There's a lot of debt coming due. And people are just really concerned about how that would overall just affect our markets if we saw a situation where you see a number of banks, get into trouble where they can't, pay their obligations. So this is a very telling year because there's so much debt coming due. So Chinese investors have said, we want to get away from real estate right now. We don't feel comfortable here. We're going to get into gold. We're getting into other tangible investments, silver. So it's really, as much as I think the stock market has this thing that looks great, I think the undercurrent of it, there's still a lot of problems happening this year. And I don't think even Elon Musk can fix what we've gotten into. I think it's some of the savings looks great, 100 billion, 200, 400 billion, but we're $36 trillion in debt.
Right.
Our debt obligation is 1.5 trillion right now. That's our interest, So as much as saving 400 or 500 billion seems great, we're still a far way away from being able to cover our debt obligation with what's coming in. So
gold
yes.
right now. So you've never been this busy. People are sensing. Listen, all I know is this. I don't care why they think that. Could be the horoscope for all I care.
Sure.
People are going, now is the time. And we're not saying this. This isn't just some kind of a pitch. There's something happening now, and now's the time to act.
Yeah, and the audit, I think the idea, if you saw over the weekend, Elon Musk, he responded to a Zero Hedge article saying like, hey, wait a minute, we've never done an audit. We haven't done an audit in 50 years of Fort Knox. Wait, that doesn't make sense. And then if you follow that X post, at the end, he has this South Park meme that says, and there's no gold,
right?
Which is the big concern right now, is that there's no gold at Fort Knox, which is something that we've talked about for a long time, because if there was the gold there, why wouldn't they have done an audit all these years ago? Also, for people that don't know, the value of the gold has been set since the last partial audit in 1974. They did a 5% audit. They set the price of gold in our reserves at $42.22. They've never revalued that gold. So the idea now with Bassett is that they're going to revalue gold to today's price. Now, do they do it at the actual price, or do they do it at a higher price? Time will tell. But the idea is that they want to do this audit. Now, there's concern in the markets that maybe they don't have all the gold, right?
Or what if it's hypothecated? What if it's pledged? What if
correct?
Forget the fact that there's straw. There's you open it up and there's nothing there. But let's assume you've got something there, but it's not yours.
It's not yours. It's owned by other countries or other institutions.
Right.
It's all possible. They've never done an audit to know if we have everything there and who owns it. So there's a lot of these situations that are making the market uneasy. And so, you have this incredible situation where every day pretty much, or every other day, gold has been going up. It broke its all-time high again. But really, I think the opportunity, Lionel, that people really aren't talking about, I think gold's going to do great, but I really think silver is the big opportunity. Silver's at 33 today. No one's talking about
book. There's that book you've got right there, which is going to be, I understand we're negotiating who was going to play me in the movie, but
yes.
Silver is the new oil. This is, we talked about this last time. This is a great, and a must purchase. We're going to put a link to that as well for people to understand it. Explain, Collin, the duality of gold and silver, how that works.
Yeah, so they do move independent from each other, but there is historical averages of gold to silver. Right now, we're at about 90 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold. The historical 100-year average is 50 to 1. But even 100 years ago, it was 15 or 16 to 1. So even if gold did move up, I mean, if we went back to 16 to 1, 15 to 1, silver would be sitting at, $300 or $400 an ounce. So we're sitting at $33 today. So that would be a pretty good return. Now, I'm not saying it's going to go there, but I talk about in the book why no one really talks about silver, number one. Two, I talk about the big thing the underlying thing I talk about is not just silver. And I do go over a lot of the industrial uses and why I think it will go up. But I really talk about that the opportunity of this super cycle in commodities is here, and that everything is overvalued. Everybody has debt. We're not the only country in this debt. Everybody's in this debt. So when you're in this debt bubble, what has to rise in value? And it's assets. So people that control assets will continue to go up in value. So people that own silver, people that own gold, real estate, BlackRock and these big companies, they're buying residential real estate because they can hold for 10 or 15 or 20 years, right? But I think the short-term gain really is an opportunity is unbelievable in silver, because if you look at where the uses of silver are, the industrial uses,
right?
If we're moving industry back here, we're building products here. Silver is a big part in that role. You need silver in almost everything that you can think of, every tech thing that you can think of,
right?
All the solar panels, there's 20 grams in every solar panel all over the world. And then once it's in a solar panel up on a roof, it's not getting recycled, right? You're not going to see that for 20, 25 years. So they say right now we're at about a 17% shortage based on the demand of today. That's about the numbers, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
If you keep going up for demand, we could be at a 30 or 40 or 50% shortage in the next 10 years. So what does that do in terms of demand? What does that do in terms of price? Also, silver is typically a byproduct in mining from zinc and copper. There are silver mines, and we get a lot of our silver from Mexico, but it's not something that's primarily mined just because of the cost. It's too expensive. So, you really have to look at all of these scenarios of, hey, we're going to need more silver. They're going to have to pull more out of the ground. We're not recycling everything. I think we recycle out, they say between 5 and 5.5% of the silver above ground we recycle, which is a really low number comparative to other precious metals. Mm-hmm. So these are some of the things that I dive into and I just give some strategies for success in the book, things that have worked for me that are outside of the norm of just your traditional way of doing business, traditional way of investing. I lay that story out in the book of things that I've seen and opportunities that are more accessible to just everyday people.
And Collin, there's something that's so, how do I say this? I'm going to say this. You're not saying this, but there are some people who look at some subjects of investing are cool. Crypto is cool. I like the EV, and that's great. Nothing wrong with that. Or property to an extent. This is, I don't want to say the solid nature of this, the fundamentals, the ABCdarian benefits of metals. Sometimes I think gets by people. It seems it's like, wake up. This is
I mean, exactly. I think everyone's learned a good lesson in the last 4 years, because you look at some of these things that people turned into investments, like watches, like expensive. People got destroyed in the last 12 to 18 months on Rolexes and all these things. They got destroyed on shoes. Shoes became this, and it was like to kind of go piggyback baseball cards. To piggyback on your cool idea. There are these things that seem cool. And when they were going up, it was like, I'm getting something cool and it's an investment.
Right.
And it's like, no, a watch is not an investment, right? There's some watches, maybe one in 1,000, or one in 100,000 may have like some significant value down the road. But typically you're at the whim of the buyer in that market, right? So
exactly.
If they stop buying Rolexes, which they have, and they stop buying, Jordans, and they stop buying expensive whiskey, and look at the wine market. The wine market has been decimated. People that are wine collectors, they're going to lose 50, 60, 70% of their wine collections. And I don't know if you've been tracking this, but and I think and I hate to say it for those people, but big picture, the fact that people are drinking, less wine is probably healthier for us as a country. But these are all things that were considered cool investments, and they didn't have any fundamental value, because how do you determine what a Jordan shoe should be worth?
And if I want to right now, you and I can walk over to anywhere. We go to any of these shops and say, here, melt this down. There you go.
Yep.
There you go. We can't say, here's a Mouton Cadet 63. Get out of here with it.
Right.
And also, you're not how do I say this? And I'm not saying to you, but people that I know, they think about some gold as some old prospector named Zeke with his mule, and he goes up and they're panning, and it's like, I don't know where this comes from, because I think it's this, you're not in this. You have been one of, if not the most successful ventures around, greatest 5-star ratings. You're out there. You're not doing this as a hobby.
No,
that's all I'm saying.
No, this is a love.
This is serious business, and people have made a lot of money doing this.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, that's been the greatest joy. I mean, listen, we do IRAs, so people need to take retirement, and they have to take distributions because they have to do it. They have to pay taxes or whatever they have to do. And to know that clients have done so well with us is really the greatest joy for me, and I will tell you, I talk to people every day, investors with us, and they say, I wish I didn't have to sell, because I think there's more room to grow. But, sometimes you got to fix the roof, or you got to do whatever you got to do.
Right.
And to know that they did well with us because we got them in the right items. We focus on bullion, right? Bullion, coins, and bars. And I will tell you right now, unbelievable pricing on products like I've never seen. We're getting it at such unbelievable prices from the mints right now. It's something I've never seen. So we're selling, everything's getting sold to clients at the best possible prices relative to the price of gold and silver. So I think it's an amazing, especially in silver. I mean, we've always been cheaper than the US Mint in terms of like the silver eagle coin. Mm-hmm. We're well below their cost right now. So it's not only the fact that they're getting into gold and silver, which is great, they're getting into it at a great time. And I will say, I do think there's going to be something really interesting that will happen in a few years, in that once the market really starts, once the retail market catches up and people really start to catch up, there will be a surge in bullion, coins, and bars again, and those premiums will go up. And so if gold goes up and the premiums for the products that we buy go up, so it's more expensive, that means the clients that are buying from us today are winning in two ways, because we have to buy that product from you.
Right.
Because otherwise we're going to buy it from you or buy it for somewhere else. So gold, and I've seen this happen. At one point, I remember during the pandemic, silver eagles, my cost above the spot price was like $8 above the spot price. So the silver's going up and the premiums. So I have to buy that back. So I'm buying it back at $8 and I got to sell it to the next event, because that's what the market was. So not only was silver going up, just the price, spot price, but the products were going up too. You would only see that happen. That will only happen in the physical market. That won't happen in the ETF. That won't happen in the GLD market. So it's interesting, right now, because the premiums are so low that they're getting it at a great price, and, the demand is high, and we're able to get these products in their hands at just some unbelievable pricing. I've never seen it since I've been and I've talked to wholesalers and other people in the business. They've never seen it in 30 years. I mean, it's unprecedented what's happening. And then just the excitement, from the regular investor. When I started, it was like the tinfoil hat crowd, right? It was like the guys in a basement, Zeke and the guys, all these guys. It's not that anymore. It's your hedge fund guy. It's your, I have a person that rents a house for me that's a big private equity guy, owns a lot of businesses and this and that. And he's buying physical gold and silver like never before even thought about it, but looked at the charts and said, I got to diversify. I got a lot in real estate. I got a lot in these different things. I got to diversify. And he's not putting all of it in there, but he's taking a portion. So it's been quite exciting. It's been an unbelievable time.
And also, Collin, let's really speak candidly, as opposed to, I'm not even sure why I said that. That's like when people say, can I be honest? They say,
Yeah.
in me now? Or as a friend of mine says, I'm going to be as honest as I possibly can be. But if you watch anything, any kind of news show, you are just hit with a smattering of gold companies. I don't even know one from the other. Oh, there's a gold, and they show these
Yeah.
pictures of these charts and these people, and it's confusing. And somebody says, you know what? I want to start this, but I don't know. I'm telling you, if anybody's watching me or not, and trust me when I tell you this, your customer service, what makes you better than anybody else is how you can know nothing, know a lot. Your customer service, the hand holding, the attention to detail is next to one. Speak to that because that's what makes you.
That education is how we built the business. We built the business on, having my YouTube channel, giving out, selling, having a book that breaks things down, simple ways. My YouTube channel has simple ideas, simple what's happening in the markets, simple tips. My staff, the customer service staff, the ones that you'll be talking to, they all own gold and silver. They all know how to break it down in a very simple form. And they've all been trained in a way that they're building relationships with clients. That's really it's a very unique environment. People have been with us for 7, 8 years. They know this stuff. We sold over $2 billion in gold and silver. So some of these sales agents have sold, over $100 million in gold and silver. So they've been through this for
they
a
know
long
something.
time. Yeah, they know a few things about it.
Yeah, right. And also, let me just say something. Right before we talk, I just got off of a stupid cell phone technical support. I don't know what planet these people were from. So whenever I have to deal with somebody, and there is the slightest bit of ease, if it's pleasant, I'm like even more happy.
Yeah.
Your ratings, your customer service, because let's face
Thank
it,
you.
that's the bottom line.
Yeah, that's the bottom line. Yeah, because
and your gold is gold. It's not your gold, it's gold. So consequently,
the proof is in this. Yeah,
yes.
and by the way, proof's in the reviews, right? The fact that people are willing to spend the time, and do that, and we appreciate that, and I think, listen, whatever we were doing, customer service would always be paramount. Every business that I own, customer service is the most important thing. I own an HR outsourcing business, and the reviews are everything. I mean, that's what and the client satisfaction is everything in that business.
Absolutely.
And that's how I've built every business. I think that's the thing that gives me the greatest joy is that the employees in love what they're doing, and it translates, and then the clients can see that, they feel that excitement and joy. And that's the only way I do it. I know the market's moving to AI. I know people are doing business in a different way, but we've always just done it the same, just old school customer service. Yeah.
Remember this. AI, somebody's going to come up with some kind of a joke, but AI ain't what you think it is. Remember something. There's one of the things which they don't have. They may be able to learn, and I know a little bit about this. There's this thing called judgment, and it's this weird thing that humans have. It's like, there's no such thing as, no. All right, let's play hypothetical. I want to call you up. What's your typical call? What do I call 877-646-5347, or go to LionelNationGold.com, and I say, Lionel sent me. If you don't say that, I'm wasting my time with this. So Lionel sent me. What do you do?
You're gonna talk to one of our associates that have been doing this for quite some time. And they're going to get to know you. They're going to get to know what what you've done in the business, if you've known anything. And, we have different guides that go out depending on your level of experience. Mm-hmm. And they're going to walk through. And the goal is to get you all the information on that phone call. But there may be follow-up phone calls. You may have more questions, or you may need to get your spouse on the phone. These are all the things that we do. But ultimately, it's a human-to-human interaction. Whether you're talking to our director of sales, Hope, or Josh, our senior sales advisor, or my dad, who's 80, who still works a few hours a day, because I think I've told you he's a terrible golfer. So you're going to talk to someone that you're going to enjoy. Good. You're going to have good comment. You're going to have a laugh, and they're just going to see if there's a connection there. And because I think what it is things have become very transactional. And what we believe is that if you buy gold and silver, you're going to be with us for a long time. So we want to make sure that it fits. And so that's the thing that's the most important. We're going to talk about what you're looking for and just kind of dive into those things and talk about what we do and our experience, because anyone could sell you gold, but what's going to happen after? That's really, the reviews come with the work that's after. And that's the thing that I found in the business when I started Noble Gold. Everyone will sell you gold. Everybody's got a thing at the beginning, but what's going to happen in a year or 2 or 3 or 5? Right. Are they going to pick up the phone? And that's really what we pride ourselves on, is like, wherever things are happening, you can still call us back. You can still ask questions. And we don't make any money. I mean, we're just here to help you. If you have an IRA, you have questions, we have an IRA team, so we do all that work. And that's the real work in the business, right? And that's the thing we pride ourselves on.
And we have had, for the years that we've known each other, you always spend time doing this. It's, yes, we do regular ads, but it's the idea of explaining this. And I'm telling you, a lot of people don't do that. I'm not saying, I don't want them to, but a lot of people don't do it because I'm very careful. I see all these other ads and I see the flashes and this, and I'm thinking to myself, what do I know about it? I don't know anything. I know that gold is good. I knew that. Gold is given. I knew that, but that's it. There's nothing personal. Collin Plume, Noble Gold Investments. Here's a number right there on the screen. All of this will be in the information below, including your book, Silver is the New Gold. LionelNationGold.com is that. We want you to go there. And if you do call, mention you heard it here on Lionel Nation. Any final words? Because before we got on, you said, I've never seen anything.
Yeah.
These are wild times, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah, I would just say the audit, the idea of the audit of our gold and reserves is a telltale sign that gold is becoming a very important asset in the world. That the world is going to change. That we've been hiding here in the U.S. and the U.S. is finally catching up to what the world, because the central banks have been buying 1,000 tons a year for the past 4 years since COVID. When they said there's too much debt, they're moving out of U.S. Treasury bonds and moving into gold. We're finally waking up. Think about when we wake up, what happens? When we wake up to things, what's going to happen? Buying's going to increase. Demand's going to increase. So I think it's an unbelievable time. We're here to help educate people. And as always, Lionel, fun to be on your show. Love talking about this stuff. And I would just say this, if this is something of interest, call, talk to somebody. And, everyone makes their own decisions, and we're just here to help. And so if we can help in any way, just give us a call. We'd love to chat.
Let me ask one last question. Stupid question. Collin, what if they go into Fort Knox and there's no gold there? What if they said, booga booga? What would that actually mean? Does my gold go up? Does it go down? Do people say, forget gold, we'll go to plastic?
The only scenario in my mind that makes sense is the dollar drops significantly in value, and gold, I mean, I think $5,000 an ounce is realistic in that scenario.
So you're hoping. I'm sorry.
I mean, I hate to say it, but
no.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt.
But it's funny. But I'm a lawyer, and I've got friends of mine who are, firefighters. Whenever we hear sirens, we think differently than most people. You know what I mean? It's just a reality. I'm not putting you in that category, but you've got to think about what we're talking about. And the very fact that this year, 2024, it's 50 years, and somebody says, you think maybe we should look in there? That's a hell of an idea. Yeah. And by the way, this is and Elon Musk, look, I don't care if it's 400 billion a drop in the bucket. Did you know anything about this? I don't want to get political now, God forbid, but I'm thinking to myself, what? Credit cards, 20 billion, 2 billion, and it's still a drop in the bucket. I love that.
Drop in the bucket. It's a drop in the bucket. But you know what? We need some drops in the bucket right now.
Yes. We need more buckets. Whatever.
Yeah, we need more buckets.
Collin Plume, Noble Gold Investments, my dear friend. Always a pleasure. Call 877-646-5347. Make sure you call, and please make sure you tell them Lionel sent you. Mr. Plume, always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you, sir.
Good to see you. Thanks, Lionel.
Indeed.